Greetings and salutations. Hope everybody is having a good morning. If you can hear me right now, just toss me a thumbs up in the chat box. Also, if you can see the screen, put me a thumbs up in the chat box. I see you. I hear you. Something. All right, Facebook users, thank you so much. Much appreciated. We had trouble getting in today, but we are here. So let's get this party started. Um Good morning, Karen C and B Spencer. For our hey Lisa Henry. For our pre-market, what we have is Dow futures opened at, well, she'll say currently. Let's do a refresh so we can get the latest information. Good morning, Jackie. Let's start with the US. So Dow Jones Industrial Average currently 0.02% is up. S&P 500 currently up 0.15%. NASDAQ up 0.32%. Russell 2K up 0.14%. And the VIX is up slightly, 1.53%. Last week was a record-setting week for the stock market, but little has changed so far. We know it's very early in the morning. Good morning, Lady T and Marcia, B. Spencer and Jackie. Hello. For Europe, for what they last reported, their markets were lower. Germany, or should I say DAX, was the only one that was up 0.08%. FTSE down 0.07%, last reported. CAC also down 0.39%, which was the most. FTSE Milano down 0.25%, and Stock 600 down 0.21%. The Nikkei has been killing it. ASX 200 up 0.12%. The Nikkei up 0.35%, which is the most. Kospi was down the most, well, second most, 0.77%. HSI Hong Kong down 0.54%, and Shanghai down the most, 0.93%. As far as the Dow futures, which is what we usually take a look at, we have the Dow futures down 0.03%. S&P futures pretty much unchanged. NAS futures is the only one up, 0.06%. So there has not, obviously, the market just opened. I would imagine somewhere near that 10 o'clock turnaround is where we will probably start seeing something happen. So get ready, because we do have some earnings that happened earlier before market open. So we'll take a look at that real quick. I'm not going to bore you and go through all of these, but I will say the one from this morning was Lee, Domino's Pizza, Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett, Crystal Alpha, Fiserv, Itron, Freshpet, Elanco, and BioCryst. That was before market. After close today, though, I think is so tomorrow morning I would expect to see some stuff happening, because you have a run of tech stuff, which is going to be Unity, Zoom, Workday, and then hers, obviously not tech, iRobot, 1OK, Car Gurus, Heiko, SBA, and Transmedics. By the time we get to Wednesday, well, we got the tech stuff. So Zoom obviously is a big deal. And then in terms of the overall market, now you got some that are hitters in their areas. Obviously, Norwegian popular because of the cruise, and then this is before the open on Tuesday, so tomorrow. So Lowe's, obviously a big deal because that's competitor with Home Depot. So you have AutoZone, American Electric Power, Lending Tree, Shift 4, Cracker Barrel, Macy's, Scotiabank, and BMO. So I would imagine that we might see a little bit of something. Not to say that it'll be earth shattering in any way, but we could see something that's major. Like I said, I won't go through all of these, but there's definitely a bunch more tech coming in on Wednesday and Thursday. So that's going to be something to look at. Friday, I should say Thursday morning should be interesting, and Friday morning should be interesting just because you got a lot of tech stuff that is going to be reporting after close. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. All right. So yeah. Also Tuesday after close, Beyond Meat. Beyond Meat has definitely been in news for a while now. Still trying to work on doing deals. They had a thing with Starbucks for a minute. I don't know if it's still active, but they had an arrangement with Starbucks for a while to have their products with Starbucks, and so that was supposed to be I don't know, a boost for them. I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if they still have it, but that was supposed to be something that really would help them put them on the map even more, if you will. So it'll be interesting what they end up reporting when it's their time. So we'll like I said, I won't go through all of those. We won't do. I'm finishing up Mancini, so we will swing back. Let's go to Forex Factory. So the only thing that is being reported for the Forex Factory is new home sales at 10 o'clock. That's it. Now, again, this is just for the Forex Factory. We're going to switch over to investing.com, but this can be a little bit of a trap. And when I say trap, let me rephrase that. This can be a little bit of a false sense of security, meaning because there's not a bunch of stuff listed on this page, it might be easy to be like, oh, well, ain't nothing going to be going down. And then, you end up looking at seeing some more information elsewhere and then end up getting caught up in the mix, which is what we don't want to do. So just know, though, that for right now, there's one orange folder, and that is for home sales, for new home sales, rather. And so we definitely want to make sure that we're not getting too geeked up about just having one thing shown on that page. In terms of investing.com, matter of fact, let me close this. In terms of investing.com, we had the building permits, which was 1 star at 8 o'clock. Building, that's month over month, building permits month over month. And then 2 stars is for building permits. 10 o'clock is going to be 2 stars, new home sales month over month for January. And then 3 stars, new home sales January. At 10:30, 1 star. Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index for February. And 11:30 is 2 stars, a 2-year note auction. Also at 11:30 is 1 star, 6-month bill auction. Then 1 o'clock is the 3-month bill auction. That is 1 star. And a 5-year note auction, which is 2 stars at 1 o'clock. So those last two are at 1 o'clock. So all the way up till 1 o'clock, there's some things that are sprinkled in there and will be worth noting. Um, so be careful. Hello, Tamara Jackson. Um, so we want to make sure we treading lightly. Let me just say it that way. Let's go back to the U.S. So right now, 10 minutes in, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.23%. You got S&P 500 is up 0.12%. NASDAQ is up 0.14%. And the Russell 2K is up 0.14%. It's still early in the time frame. The VIX is still climbing. Normally, when you see the VIX going up, you may see these other ones going down, but these are really up so negligibly right now that anything could flip around. We're gonna go to let's check out the what's been going down from this perspective. This is the SPX, and we got our 15-minute window. Some people trade the open and are looking for the 15-minute breakout. This is what it is doing so far. So we'll do it this way. Give it a different color. All right. So we'll keep on that. This is what it's done so far. So we'll just mark what it has done thus far. Obviously, it can still push down. We still got a few minutes, but 5088 is the area where it last closed, and the most recent high on the 15-minute chart is 5099. So those can be possible resistance areas. Should I say resistance up here and support down here? So we'll come back to check on that in a second. Last I checked, there is 10 points between the ES and SPX. So this is what we have for Adam Mancini. Last week's historic rally ended with a run to 5011 target in SPX, and then by chop. For the last 6 weeks, Monday, Tuesday has been hangover days as posted. Similar mess likely today. No over trading planned today. 5083 to 78 is support. If it keeps, 5092 to 5100 is in play. If 5078 fails, we begin dip to 5069, 5056. So 5078 is the number that I'll be focusing on. That's what that looks like. Is that right? Let me check these again just to be on the safe side. 5. Nope, one of those is wrong. That should be that first one should be 5111. Sorry about that. First one should be 5111. 5111. Yes. Looks more right. 5111. The rest of those is all right. Files, ends, Mancini, save, refresh, 5111. All right, but 5078 is what we're looking at for the chart. So right about here. So I'm just gonna mark on the calendar 5078 because that is what we can call the deal breaker for Mancini today. This is the one where if it drops past this, we'll be heading down to the next set of numbers. If you are in the Telegram group, the Mancini numbers have already been dropped into those groups. So you have that if you need it. Let's see here. We have what to run through right now before my screen just disappeared. There you go. All right. So we did earnings, we did calendar. So this is the last week. February went kind of fast. So this is the last week of the small account challenge. So for those of you who are a part of that, I hope that you have been finding ways to hone your craft and get what you need out of it. Our Alyssa's birthday is on Wednesday, everybody. So please remember to send a happy birthday shout out, if you will. We don't have anything planned for this coming Saturday. So that is a free Saturday. At least there's nothing planned right now. So we'll be focusing on the small accounts challenge, and Wednesday, 7:00 is when we will have our weekly training going down. As usual, I highly suggest the startwiththechart.com website. I think Start With The Chart is a great way if you are, let's say, new to charting. I just think that's a great way to get started on the charting side and get an idea of some good tips and things to start off with some strong charting. This is the SPX. So here's what happened so far anyway. You have was it close 5091? It's closed at 5091. This came out of here. So it did come out of its range. This is the support area that I was saying that it could bounce off of, or shall I say, well, that it could bounce off of or stop at, however you want to phrase it. So this is what it's bouncing off of right now, is this support area. So I definitely would be, if you're trying to trade the 15-minute breakout, I would definitely be keeping an eye on this, because this zone right here, could be a zone where it bounces off and comes back the other way. So you definitely want to give it a little bit more time, at least in my opinion. I wouldn't jump right in, but either way, this is what it has done after the first after the first 20-some minutes. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that. I didn't see any tickers dropped into the chat, but I did see some in the Telegram group. What I will do is this week specifically, I would highly encourage you, when you are doing your charting, to take a look at a couple things in particular. One of those I would say is triple Q, to make sure you're aware of what's happening with triple Q, because that is tech index, obviously. Well, this is ETF, but Invesco, but Triple Q is tech related. And so this is the monthly chart that I'm looking at right now. But so as you can see right now, this is at like all-time highs, which should be a surprise based on what we saw from when we first kind of came into it. And I would say it's well, my auntie used to use the word behoove. It would behoove you. It would behoove you to at least have an idea of what Triple Q is doing. I would say for this week, mainly because there's a lot of tech stocks that are reporting this week. As we looked at, like Wednesday, you had like Snowflake, Salesforce, Okta. I mean, there's a lot happening, even though it's not Apple and all those other ones. There's enough happening where you might want to make sure that you're aware of what's going down with certain. Not I'm not obviously we want to look at all of the SPX and all those other ones, but because there's a lot of tech stuff, I would definitely say the main tech related stuff that we might see, we may want to take a look at. This is called a Fibonacci retracement line. I know a lot of people are familiar with it. I'm just using it just to see where there may be a point of interest, which this has already started breaking through some main areas right here. It's broke through its previous high on the monthly chart, which means for us that if we're going to be looking at the NASDAQ, this is a point where it could come back and be support. So price may very well at some point come back down here, which actually technically it already did right here. It bounced off this line and started heading up. That's on the monthly chart. So I'm just taking a look at the monthly and the weekly just to see, but obviously that would be a strong point for the weekly right there as well. So it is basing up here, meaning that it's just moving to the side for right now. It's not necessarily continuing up like we saw on the monthly chart. So that is something to take note of. But again, this area 380, I'm gonna say 383 for sure. 383 to 393 is where I'll be looking to see what ends up happening. Also, right here on this is the weekly chart, 409. It started, kind of switching up. It went up, it changed and bounced off this. It started going up. So when it comes back down, this was a turnaround point. So this turnaround point here, we might, see that as a something significant down the road as well, because that's a stronger price point right here to look at. So at some point, this people gonna start taking profit at some point. So the question is whether or not when it comes down, it bounces off this, it comes, crashing through or what have you. But it'll be interesting to see what ends up happening. So since these are at all-time highs, NASDAQ is at all-time highs, the only thing that's left for it to do, of course, it'll be very difficult to establish a direction right now. That's for sure. So we know that it's, sitting up here. We're waiting for profits. But one thing is for sure, and that is there is a gap right here. And this just happened last week. A gap was created on this is the daily chart I'm on now. So all I did was started with the monthly, went down to the weekly, and then now I'm at the daily. And so this gap right here is, what is that, 434, 425. That's a nice little chunk right there. Obviously, the NASDAQ can go right through it, but my expectation would be that this was a buyer's gap, and it is a buyer's gap because buyers pushed up, right? They gapped up, so that means there's a bunch of buyers sitting in there. And so when this comes back down, or when it comes back to this line, it may bounce off again, which shouldn't be a surprise in this case, because right here it was support, and right here it was resistance. So it wouldn't be, that means that it was just called a parity line, when it was support and then resistance when it switches between those. So it could come down here and bounce off. It may not just drop straight through there unless something happens. But either way, that's something to be of note, and we'll see what ends up happening over the next couple of days as it relates to the different, specifically tech. I look at tech because that's my background, but I can say the same thing for some of these other ones, like for example, just to give you an example. So I was saying triple Q because of the tech stocks, but I also encourage people to look at like sector ETFs. And we could say the same thing for sector ETFs, because let's say consumer discretionary, as an example, XLY, it's probably going to have Norwegian and Lowe's. Certain companies like TJX will be discretionary because it's not a staple, meaning, well, TJ, you need draws, so I guess TJX might be in there, but the different sector ETFs have the stocks to be, sitting in there. So whatever you're trading, I would encourage you to look at the ETF that goes with that, because the different stocks tend to trade together. So if it's in the ETF with the other one, you might want to be aware of that. This is Intel. This was put in the group, or shall I say in the chat box. And Intel is on a run up since last year. To be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised it didn't go up a little bit higher, but it hit this price point here and came up through it, and now it is like it could be retracing. So this is on the monthly chart. So it's definitely overall recently, we should say, it's trending upwards. It's overall for, last couple years or whatever, however you want to phrase that, has been down, but it's definitely trying to come up. And if you, they were just in the news, just saw articles yesterday, day before yesterday, something like that. Intel is trying to make sure they reestablish themselves in the chip game. So they're definitely trying to make sure that they stay on the rise. So this is the weekly chart, which is, definitely confirming the direction. But as you can see, the last couple of weeks right here, each of these candles being 1 week, it's kind of stayed in this zone, this $42 zone. So it has not dropped below that yet. That's not to say that it won't, but this is a pretty strong price point. We look on the daily. There is a gap right here. And I will say that is one of the things that is very common with Intel, is that if you look on their charts, man, you'll see a lot over the years. You'll see a lot of gap ups and gaps down. Some of that is caused just because make a mistake in terms of slip ups, not having their stuff together, etc. But they lost some market share to AMD. This could be one of the reasons why this is basing right now, because you got this gap here. Even though it is, well, what really is barely over a $3 gap, but it was strong enough that every time it gets near it, it bounces off. So this is what I was saying about Triple Q a second ago when we saw its gap, and I said it might come down and bounce off. This is the same idea, that it may come close to this and then bounce off. So as of right now, Intel does have a buyer zone that today's candle is the third candle in a formation. But the only thing I would caution about Intel, or I shouldn't even say caution, but because it's basing like it has been, these zones right now this is more choppy. I would consider this more choppy looking versus clear, meaning it's not, obviously it's not, on the downswing or upswing specifically. It's going to the side. So your seller zone and your buyer zone may not be as clear. And in this case, with everything kind of bunched together like it is and being under that gap, you definitely want to pay attention to what could be happening. And how you play that, it's up to you how safe you want to be. But in terms of when you go to trade it, but I would say, this is Intel, and they definitely have a gap above it that it has been respecting that line for. So I would be paying attention to that. Lady T said it looked choppy to me as well. Yeah, most definitely. Definitely not. I mean, I used to try to trade Intel, but the premiums wouldn't be where the premiums wouldn't be all that great. So that's what made me stop trading them, and I didn't like how it would just randomly gap sometimes. And that's a good example. Intel for me. Now, I'm not saying this is the law, but for me, Intel is a good example of, when somebody else is doing well, Intel's might drop. Let's say if AMD, does well, Intel might drop because that's its competitor. So it kind of just depends on the situation. Global Foundries got awarded a contract, I think, from the United States government, and that might have been somewhere up in here. I'm not saying that it caused it, but I'm saying, a win for Global Foundries didn't mean a win for all of tech. So it, it just kind of depends on how you're viewing it. But the closest buyer zone that I see that I think would even be worth looking at right now would be this one, but it's been revisited at least one time. So if this comes down, it may do more than just come down in here. Who knows? But that's something to keep an eye on. XOM, which is Exxon Mobil. Tell y'all, man, I was really trying to get into a relationship with Exxon Mobil, and just did not work out. Dude, I almost said she too slick. So I'm gonna tell you though, I've been following Exxon for a while actually, and it keeps this 95, 97 area on the monthly chart. It keeps bouncing off of this. So that's something that I have been watching and seeing with some type of regularity that it'll bounce off that this area. This zone seems to be pretty strong for ExxonMobil. I'm gonna put I'm gonna do Exxon, then I'm gonna switch over to see what's going on with SPX. On my chart, blue lines are monthly. I'll have it color coded that way. Blue lines are the monthly, yellow lines is weekly, and green is daily. There's literally no rhyme or reason for those color choices, but when I started charting, those were the colors that I ended up remembering for those monthly time frames. So I just left it. It didn't make sense to try to figure it out or whatever. This is on the uptrend over the past few weeks. Overall, it has, recently, really, it's been mostly basing, to be honest with you. Like I said, on the monthly chart. So really, it's just been going mostly side to side. But, and that's if you count, months worth of data. But in terms of recently, the last, let's say, month and some change, this is looks like it's trying to work its way up. To me, the clearest, I guess you could say right here, this is leg in, base, leg out. So you could say, if you want to go here on the, what is this, 105, you could use that as a chair formation, but I was looking more up here until, well, there's a couple chair formations now that I think about it for on the weekly chart, but it just depends on how you want to chart this as well. Some people will use this as a leg in and go leg in, base, leg out. Do it that way. Or you can complicate it by putting both of these in the base. I don't know. But I'll just say from a weekly perspective, the thing that seems to be the most, that makes the most sense would probably, for me anyway, leg in, base, leg out. And this line right here, this 105 seems to be a pretty good resistance. I'm just going to put this right under here because that's the line that I see it bouncing off of, and we'll respect that line right there. So let's check out daily. So this is another one that's kind of going to the side. It's a little choppy. It has pretty well, depending on how you measure gaps, it looks like it has filled the gap or almost filled the gap. Where it gapped down right here. So there was a gap down, and this has been in this right here. I think is the last time I tried to trade Exxon. I feel like somewhere in there. But this is another one that is kind of choppy. Leg in, base, leg out for your buyer zone right here. But I would say the seller zone really is not something I would trade right now. In turn, if you're just going by, straight up calls and puts and things of that nature, there's none. I would be back here I'll be going up here at 107. That's what I'll be looking at. Let me preface that by saying, number one, it's not financial advice. And number two, I like to look for the clearest formations that show me where the buyers and the sellers are. So if I wanted to force something, I could probably, conjure up something over here. But if I just wanted to say, okay, well, let me just go with what looks like a strong formation. I don't necessarily like this middle piece right here, but if I'm going with a strong formation or one that looks familiar, I'll be going up here, 107 to 109 is where I'll be looking. So yeah, I'll be doing this right here for the buyer zone. Go ahead, I'll just chart it. So I'll be doing that right here for the buyer zone. Yep. And we'll go above this for the seller zone. So remember, this right here is the weekly. This is the weekly zone, right? So we're on the daily chart. The price has been basing at this weekly price point. It was a gap on the daily chart as well, and so this is where it has been basing since last November. Going side to side since last November. So that's what I see on there. Today's candle, like I said, this is the third. Just going to third leg out. So I'm not going to put these lines over here because the day's not over yet. So anything could happen, as y'all know. It's war and all kind of stuff happening that could that does directly impact prices. So I like to wait till the end of the day before I can conclude that this is a full formation. But as of right now, it's just in between the zone and kind of sitting right there. I may even look at trading it today, actually. So yeah, thank you, Lady T. She said, "Let's not complicate it. I need simplicity." I'm with you on that. The simpler, the better. So earlier we were talking about SPX and being careful about trading them because of the breakout. If you recall, I was like, well, it looks like it's going down, but it might bounce in reverse. And so this is what I was referring to. So this is the 15 minutes range that it was in. And if you recall, this was a red candle. A nice red candle too. But my concern was this area down here looked like it was support. And so I was thinking this might bounce off of here in reverse, come back this way, and that is what happened. So for those who are trading the breakout, that's why, for me anyway, that's why it's good to not jump in as soon as, because I was messing up with that breakout because I would see the candle and the candle would be going in, outside, but it wouldn't be coming down a little bit more outside of that zone. And so I would be getting in stuff and then they would reverse. So that's when I started realizing you got to give it a little bit more time because of these type of things. And you got to be aware of those areas where it's, where it has turned around before, and that could be a strong zone. So as of right now, what has really happened is, since we've been on the call, this area is a strong area because the buyers have been pushing. It pushed up on this candle, and then now they're in a battle. They fighting. So it hasn't really quote unquote broken out quite yet. So it's fighting to get out of there, but no dice. All right. No dice on that. Okay, so I'm not gonna hold y'all hostage any further. Let's go back over here to just look at the Dow is up 0.13%. S&P 500 is up 0.01%. NASDAQ is up 0.07%. Russell 2K is up the most of everybody right now, 0.67%. The Dow, I'm sorry, the VIX is at 1.38%. It is up. It is at 1394, which I started trading during the pandemic, coincidentally. So 1394 for me is super low, super low VIX. But these are the futures. Dow futures 0.18% is up. S&P futures 0.02% up. NAS futures 0.03% up. So as of right now, things are looking things are looking up. If you are in the Telegram group, I think this earnings chart was posted. I know I posted it at some point, but I don't remember if it was in all the groups. But I know that we do have it. If I didn't post it, our listen may have posted it. Yeah. So I see it. So yeah, it's been posted. So we're good. So you can refer to that during the week. For those of you not in the Telegram group, one of the sources is Earnings Whispers. They post on Twitter, and that's where we get the calendar from, and that's where some of us have been pulling that from. All right. So let's see here. E2T. I don't see any more. I don't see any more. Our membership, educatedthetrader.com. If you'd like to join the membership, that is available at any time. I will highly encourage you to join the membership. It is a lot of people. Actually, a lot of us know each other from other programs that we started at the same time. So I definitely would, I think it's a great community. So I would highly encourage you to check out educatedthetrader.com. Also, vertical credit spreads. The thing that we're doing for the challenge, the small account challenge, is narrowing down the amount of strategies and just going with, let's say, one or two strategies for the month. And so we're a sellers community, but if you're a buyer and you want to learn how to sell, I would definitely, I think vertical credit spreads is a good one. Options 411, if you don't know how to, if you're really new to trading, all of that can be seen and purchased at educatedthetrader.com. Our E2T daily declaration. By faith, I'm a successful trader. I'm a wise and knowledgeable trader. I make smart and lucrative decisions for my portfolios. Money likes me because money is comfortable around me. It is drawn to me. E2T daily prayer. Lord, give us wisdom and knowledge for our trades today. Help us to make smart and lucrative decisions for our portfolios. All right, everybody. Like to encourage you to stay green, get this money today. If you have any questions, we'll be in the Telegram group. Otherwise, we have plenty of content available on at Educated the Trader. Highly encourage you to check out our free content. And all that being said, you all have a great day, and we'll see you next time.